trendy term that we're using now, and it's this idea, it makes sense, that social and learning about your emotions as well, and how that can be tied into what we do in physical education. But I think the reality is that we do a lot of this. If you look into what social emotional learning in the literature, I'm not going to go into it, I'll have about 15 minutes here, but we do most of these things. So what I want to do, I'm going to get you guys up and we're going to do some obviously very mock activities here and talk a little bit about some of the concepts related to social emotional learning that relate to that and that we already do in PE. So if you would you come up and walk anywhere you want? Again, go with me here. Pretend this is a big gym. Anywhere you want inside this space here where these, stay away from that, dots are. All right. All right, eyes right here. When I say go, you're gonna walk to a poly spot. You're gonna look at that emotion, whatever the poly spot, these are different emotions, and you could go into a lot about emotions with kids. And then you're gonna move to another poly spot as if you're expressing that emotion. So if this one, where's one, this is frightened, I'm gonna walk to the next poly spot as if I'm frightened. We're trying to get kids to understand. So if kids can understand how they walk when they're angry, how they walk when they're happy, starting to understand your emotions are extremely important. So, go. So you move to the next one. If it's scared, if it's, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. I got I can't go over there, sorry. Angry over there. And relax. So, again, you can talk about each one of these emotions. You can have emotion cards. You can have kids walk angrily. We call this emotional movement, just so they start to think about their emotions. When I say go, I need each of you to get toe-to-toe with a partner, just like this. One toe, two gets awkward. Go. If you don't have a partner, perfect. All right. One partner, raise your hand. If you have your hand raised, this is called Builders and Destroyers. Everybody's played it. I have an important message at the end of this. If you have your hand raised, you're the builder. You're trying to get these topple tubes to be up. If you did not raise your hand, you're the destroyer. You're trying to get them knocked over. Go. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And freeze. All right, now we're going to reverse roles. Raise your hand if you are a destroyer. You are knocking them down. You are a builder now. Raise your hand if you are a builder. You are a destroyer now. You're trying to knock them down. Go. And freeze. All right. Tell me, which was easier, destroying or building? Destroying. Which is easier, to hurt someone and destroy their happiness, or to build them up? Which is easier? Destroying is probably easier, right? It's easier to find criticism. It's harder to build someone up. So you play a game like Builders and Destroyers, and then you can talk about, here's what we're going to do in this class. We're going to build each other up. And all we're going to do is we're going to give compliments. If you have something, it's like your mom always said, if you have something negative to say, just don't say anything. This is a culture we're trying to build, and you understand sometimes you're going to want to say something negative to someone. Don't. Be positive. Walking, go. Well, if you would you grab one of those topple tubes and just set them over here by this backpack? Thank you. All right, relax. So the first piece of this when you look at social emotional learning is self-awareness. Then there's self-management. This is big for us. We used to call, you might still call it, a timeout. We start to call them cool down corners. I was just at a school the other day that called a cool down corner, because if you can get a kid that is having behavior problems to go and cool down or to go and think about their behavior, that's a step in the right direction of this whole idea of self-awareness. Other ways we can do it, as you've seen with Gopher, has a fit step stream pedometer, getting kids to understand their own behaviors, physical activities of behavior, so their emotions, tying this self-awareness together with that, I think, is important. Walking, anywhere you want, go. Freeze. This is another way that we build this climate of social emotional learning, is we have these expectations, and my expectation when you freeze, what do? You stopped, right? And having those expectations for kids as well. All right, when I say go, you two are going to be taggers, okay? If they tag you, this is the only time I ever play freeze tag, and I'll talk about why in a second. If they tag you, you raise your hand, and you say, help me. You are going to be the manners. You get to be manners. When they say, someone says help me, you give them a high five, and they say what to you? What do you think they're going to say? Thank you, and you're going to say, you're welcome. How about sending that manners? This is how we do things in PE, right? So what are you guys doing? Tagging. And what do you do when you get tagged? Hand up, saying help me. Go. Again, go with me here. We got to. And freeze. All right, here's a message you can send with this game. Is we have bad manners and good manners. If we have lots of bad manners, what does it do to our class? Kind of stops us, right? If we have good manners, so if I only had one bad manner and I had two good manners, what would it do to our class? Keep us moving, right? These are all activities we already do in PE. It's just a matter of teaching this empathy, teaching self-awareness, those types of things. Walking, go. And freeze. All right, toe-to-toe again, quickly. New partner. All right, so let me talk a little bit about, I need to be over here, with partners. This is, again, this trying to create this climate. If you make eye contact with someone, that's your partner in my class. Because there's nothing worse than this and looking away because, what's your name? It's upside down. Megan?
Megan.
Megan is that right?
Megan. Is it upside down?
Yeah, I'm seeing here. Megan, okay. If I look at her and I look away, that's cruel, right? And that starts to create this environment where I don't want to be. And if I make eye contact with someone, that's my partner. Another thing you can do is you can have what's called power groups. So if you're getting in groups of 4, then you have to have at least 2 boys or 1 boy and 1 girl so they don't, because they congregate. It's like, look, you're going to have to work with some people of different genders, ethnicities, people you don't like. Don't look around if you work with people. But people you don't like, it's just the way it's going to be, and this is what we're going to do here, okay? Introduce yourself if you don't know your partner, and then walk away. And freeze. Toe-to-toe again with someone different. That's fine. There you go. All right, here's what you're going to do with your partner. You're going to create a handshake with 3 moves and practice it several times. Go. 3-move handshake. Got your 3? Make sure you practice it and know it really well. And walk away from your partner. Make sure you know that's handshake. Freeze. Find another partner. It can be somebody you've had before. Just can't be your other handshake partner. Teach them your handshake. So now how many moves are you going to have?
3.
6. Go. 6-move handshake. Oh my, we got spins involved. You got all 6? Okay, do all 6. Keep going with all 6. All right, walking by yourself again. You know where this is going. Know you're a 6. Walking again with your part. Walking. Yeah, well, you can do the math too. And find another partner, preferably one you haven't had before. Okay. Now you're going to have a 12 move. I know I'm challenging you. It's awful early in the day, I know. 12 moves. Go. Is this? Okay. All right, you get the idea, right? So, all right, eyes right here. I know you're into this. You can't remember it, can you? Man, I wouldn't be good at this either. I'm good on this end of it. So, one of these pieces of social emotional learning is relationship skills. So what did you have to do that as a relationship skill? Communicate, right? Now, when most kids, and most adults probably, when you say communicate, what do they think of? Talking. What else is a part of communication? Listening, watching, your expressions. There are activities we do with kids like this walking. You have to show a face of what it looks like to be angry, because kids communicate those things, and we have to learn early on in school, in class, especially in physical education, that I can look at somebody and not say a word, and it sends a negative message, right? So these relationship skills are also extremely important with what we're trying to do. All right, walking, go. And relax. All right, now, again, what I want you to see is, I've kind of trained you, per se, in what my management protocol is. I say stop and you guys stop. With kids, you might have to work a little bit more, but when I get partners, it's toe to toe. Make eye contact, that's my partner. I don't look for my best friend. I don't put you with your best friend. I might divide you up if I think of that. So, when we're doing the social emotional learning and building relationships, it's important to tie these things together. All right, when I say go, have you guys, somebody put it out on Twitter recently, we used to call it 21 Jump Street, all right? How many remember what 21 Jump Street is? Okay, it's an old TV show, yeah, all right. Toe to toe, quickly. Perfect. All right, right there. All right, that's all right, you can be partners again. We don't have very many people. All right, so what's your name? Ann. Ann is my partner. My goal is to say 21. And we're gonna count. I can only count 1 or 2, so I'm gonna jump. And I'm gonna say 1, 2. Ann's gonna jump, and she can jump once and say 3, or jump twice and say 3, 4. Okay, so go ahead and pick.
3, 4.
5, 6.
7.
8.
9, 10.
11, 12. You get the idea. Work with your partner jumping. Your goal is to get 21. You want to be the person that says 21. Go.
18, 19, 20, 21, 18.
If you win it, go again.
Okay.
There's a time limit.
18.
All right. I did this in a workshop a while back, and I did it at the beginning. And at lunchtime, somebody said, "What's the key to that one?" So what have they been thinking about the whole time? How to win this game, right?
Right.
I think the key is to get to 18. Because if you say 18, you're guaranteed to win, if you're smart about it. Because then the person says 19, 20. But then you got to be trying to be the person that gets to 18. So welcome to that math problem. All right? If you would, have a seat back where you were, Quinn. All right, so if you look back and if you dig up some of this information about social emotional learning, there's self-awareness, which we talked about when we did the emotional movement, finding out about your own emotions, social awareness, empathy, respect, manners, those types of things, relationship skills, which is the cooperation. You guys created Handshakes. The key I forgot to mention about this is when you do activities like that you're working on cooperative skills, the debriefing part, when I talked about cooperation and I talked about what that means, you would go much more in depth with kids, but that's an essential part of these cooperative skills. So many times we do a cooperative activity like pretzel or crossing the river, and then we never talk about what did you have to do? Did you have to listen to other people's ideas? Did you have to consider their ideas? Were there some people that were leaders? Is it important to have some people that are followers? Yes. So these social skills are important, as well as these emotional skills that students are learning when you go through those activities. And then the last thing was responsible decision making. Again, with this activity, you're having to decide whether you want to do one or two. And it's problem solving, all of these things. Was there anything we did today that was unique that we never do in physical education? Everything was what we do in physical education. And as you've been around education long enough, you'll see it takes, sometimes it's a new term that comes along. Right now it's social emotional learning. This is all we're doing. We're tying social skills and emotional skills. Those are things, as you've been around, as you've been teaching well enough, you're going to see they aren't just learned. Some kids they aren't just known. Some kids have to learn those, and we have to teach them, what are your emotions? How do you react when you have that emotion? Is that a good thing? Can you maintain that? That's why we have cool down corner. If you have emotions of anger, or if you're anxious, those are things that you can do and have your cool down. And again, these are just things that we automatically do and already do in physical education. It's just a matter of framing them as social emotional learning, letting your administrators know, we do that. We do that, because I can guarantee you social emotional learning, if it hasn't hit your district yet, it's going to hit it. And it's important to know that what we do in physical education, we already do it. Now, you have, oh, I'm the one that picks it out. No pressure at all here. You didn't put yours in? Right. Oh, we got to put them in.
They don't put them in.
Oh, they don't put them in.
We have your other half.
Oh, okay. 095. Don't get excited, I get there, I'll start with that. 0067. You need to see Bree. Thank you all for coming. Make sure you